Welcome to Millennials with Mics, discussions about movies, politics, religion, and more. I'm Aaron Mason.
And I'm Christian Stevens.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Season 1 finale.
I'm Batman. Okay, got it out of the way.
This week's episode is obviously about Batman, specifically the Batman movies.
The cinematic Batmans.
So we're not going to go into the Adam West Batman.
Oh, right.
Saw that movie years and years and years. Saw the TV show and the movie years and years and years ago. But we'll be going over, in chronological order, Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, our thoughts on Robert Pattinson's upcoming, and, of course, the best Batman of all, Kevin Conroy.
And so the debate begins.
Kevin Conroy, for many who don't know, Kevin Conroy has been the voice of Batman in animated and video game features for over 30 years, I believe.
Is he still on it?
Oh, yeah.
There's an upcoming, Batman movie coming out. So I don't know if he's going to be involved with that one.
So he's not on the animated? So he's not on all of the animated movies. He is on a lot of them.
The big ones.
Like, he's on the big ones. But, like, people like Bruce Greenwood and some other people have voiced Batman in animated movies.
Gross.
I would say on animated movies, like, the last 10, 15 years, he's probably been Batman about half the time.
Bruce Greenwood was Batman.
And then the Arkham video games. He was...
Oh, yeah?
He was the
I do like those Arkham
of.
games. They're fun.
As was Mark Hamill, was the voice of the Joker in those, like he was with Kevin Conroy in the animated series. So...
Did Kevin Conroy not do The Killing Joke?
Yes.
Okay.
Him and Mark Hamill both did The Killing Joke.
Okay.
So
cool.
We'll get into him. We're going to do him after George Clooney, before Christian Bale, because his animated movies came out after the George Clooney one, I believe. So that's chronological.
The first Kevin Conroy animated movie came out after Clooney's? The
first one might not have. I think the second one might have.
Okay.
So it was interspersed in there. So.
Yeah, I know. We grew up with all the first four.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, Christian Bale in our teen years, Ben Affleck in our current time. So, I mean, Batman's been in our lives forever.
And like I don't know about you, but even when I was a kid, fuck Superman. I've always been Batman or nothing.
Growing up, I was always pro Batman, not as much Superman. My brother loved them both equally, but he was always partial to Superman. But
and I always liked the Superman animated show.
It changed for me with the new DCU, I'd say. But I still love Batman.
Yeah.
Probably more.
Like, I don't hate Superman.
I just don't hate Superman either as much.
I don't hate Superman, but anytime you're going to pit Batman versus Superman, Batman all the way for me.
Man over a god, you know, because...
Yeah.
And I think that's always why I've been partial to Indiana Jones as a action hero and stuff.
Because a guy.
He's a guy taking on this magnitude of crazy stuff. It's paranormal, supernatural stuff.
Yeah, that's fair.
But he's like the archaeological adventure of Batman.
Yeah.
In a way. But yeah, I always like the mortal guys who can use their wits, like Iron Man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So let's dig in. Michael Keaton first.
Mm-hmm.
So
directed by Tim Burton.
Both of his movies, Batman and Batman Returns.
Yeah, both of them.
Very Tim Burton-esque, very dark. Visually, yeah. The movies were okay. Jack Nicholson was the Joker in Batman.
Yeah.
He was good.
Yeah.
He was solid.
Awesome costume. Very manic and did his thing.
And then Batman Returns. I always get this confused, but Batman Returns was the one with Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman.
Yes.
And Danny DeVito as Penguin.
Yes.
And then Christopher Walken as some rich guy.
Yes.
So,
absolutely.
Out of those two, which did you prefer?
I think I always preferred Batman Returns because I think the cast in that one I loved more. I loved Christopher Walken a lot, and I love Danny DeVito. Visually, I think it was more Tim Burton-esque. The way he handled the Penguin was very Tim Burton, and I've always been a big Tim Burton fan, so I always visually loved that. I love Jack Nicholson. I just think cinematically it was a better movie. Mm-hmm. And plus, you got to toy with, Catwoman and Penguin and the rich billionaire who was played by Christopher Walken. So you got few more characters added. And I feel like Michael Keaton, well, for both films, it was a balance of between his Bruce Wayne and Batman, but I feel like they were both not enough.
Yeah, I feel like he was Bruce Wayne a little bit more than he was Batman.
He probably was. But I don't think his Batman action was as, exciting as it should have been.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Tim Burton is much of a superhero or action director. Obviously not. But, so I think he was a great choice for the Gotham that they were wanting. Yeah. He wasn't a great choice for the superhero aspect. And I don't think he really utilized Batman to his full potential like Zack Snyder did or even Christopher Nolan because that wasn't his visual. Mm-hmm. But it was still decent movies.
All 5 of those 90s Batman movies really were more about the villains than they were about Batman. Batman was like almost a secondary character in each of those.
Absolutely.
And it's an interesting take on a superhero movie.
I think
it's more interesting, honestly, in a lot of aspects than most of the Marvel movies are.
It's like with the diehards. Mm-hmm. They're driven by the villain before you even get. And that's what brings out John McClane.
Yeah,
it's like what the villains of Gotham bring out Batman now.
Yeah.
So they're always secondary in a way.
Yeah, I agree.
And Marvel movies, always start out with the superhero versus the villain until you get to like Avengers Infinity War. That's when we build up Thanos, and Thanos is pulling this movie.
Yeah.
And the Avengers are the puppets.
And really, like, if you could look at that, like, it's the whole Marvel universe has been building up to that one moment. So it's really the whole universe has been superhero before
you get to the villain.
You get to that main villain at the end.
Precisely.
But no, I like Michael Keaton. I like the villains in both of these movies. All the villains. We'll rate the Batman actors later. But I think Michael Keaton, he was solid. I think he was solid in his approach. And I think Tim Burton did a pretty good job for not being much of a superhero guy.
Right.
Kilmer, he was in Batman Forever. This is the one where Jim Carrey was Edward Nygma, the Riddler. Tommy Lee Jones was Two-Face Harvey Dent.
Oh, right.
And was there another villain in that, or were they it? I feel like there was someone I'm
missing.
That
was it.
There's someone I'm missing.
No.
There's not?
No.
Okay.
I know. They get muddled in.
Yeah,
they really do.
I will say, Val Kilmer, I thought he was a terrible Batman. I thought he was a bad Bruce Wayne. I just didn't like him in that at all.
He's really not a good actor if it wasn't for Tombstone.
Tombstone and Alexander. He was really good as King Philip.
Okay,
in Alexander.
Give you that. True.
But yeah, I did not like Val Kilmer as Batman. I'll go ahead and say he was my least favorite. I thought he was the worst Batman actor so far.
Unless he was it was just it's just an actor in a Batman suit, and you can call him Batman, but he didn't really actually bring out Bruce Wayne. He was just Val Kilmer in a rubber suit. Yeah. So it was and back then I don't think they really did the acting processes for a lot of actors like that. They take it more seriously now, I feel like.
Yeah, they could have.
Even with superhero movies, they take the acting processes a lot more serious than they did back then. Mm-hmm. Back then, you get Val Kilmer or Clooney or whatever, and it's just they look good. Yeah. Do they act good?
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's true. Batman Forever, I will say, I'm not just a huge fan of Jim Carrey's comedy, but I think that there never has been, never will be a better actor to play the Riddler than Jim Carrey. I think personally that
at the time, absolutely.
I think today too. Like, I know they're going to have Paul Dano as the Riddler. I don't think anyone will ever be better as the Riddler than Jim Carrey was.
We have to wait to see.
I really do think, in my opinion, like, again, not a huge Jim Carrey fan. I loved The Mask growing up. I like The Mask.
So Jim Carrey is a huge actor beyond comedy, though.
He is, but that is obviously very
his
much
staple.
what he is known for.
I know.
And I passionately hate the Ace Ventura movies. I don't like the Dumber and Dumber movies. Nothing like that.
I know. You don't like dumb comedies like
No,
that,
I hate
and that's why you don't like Will Ferrell films.
But I think the way he approached the dumb comedy aspect for Riddler, I think was absolutely brilliant. I think that is probably I would argue, one of the top 5 roles he has ever done.
Best Grinch.
Oh my God. Not even going to go into that. And then on the flip side of that, I think Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face, I think that was a poor casting choice. I think it was very sloppily done. I hated
I don't even know how he got the role.
And him and Jim Carrey hated each other during the movie.
I think Tommy Lee Jones had more of a problem with Jim Carrey.
So I think he was a terrible casting choice in that. But
it
is what it is.
It just didn't work. And we don't see Tommy Lee Jones as playing that kind of role ever. And when we did, it's like uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it's like, keep him being the boring sheriff who's 3 steps behind in No Country for Old Men.
Yeah. Or Man of the House.
Or Man of the House.
That was brilliant. Fucking love that movie.
Yeah.
But
that's a decent comedy.
Batman Forever overall didn't like. That was the first Joel Schumacher one, I think. Tim Burton still produced it, I want to say. But
and I know this guy just passed on, but fuck those films. Fuck his vision of the Batman films. I'm just going to be honest. Now they're talking about the Schumacher cuts of this. I'm like, please no.
And like, apparently those were in the works before he passed away, and then he passed away recently.
Yeah.
And now they're announcing them finally, but like, why?
But why? We don't want these. And I just think that's the thing about, I think Tim Burton, he brought the real gritty darkness of the comic books. Just because children read comic books doesn't mean it's supposed to be just kiddie. Mm-hmm. And then Joel Schumacher came and made it so comically stupid and ridiculous.
Still trying to keep it gritty on the flip side of it, though, that just didn't mesh well together.
So poorly that it
almost didn't translate. That he was
all.
Trying to do that, but I feel like he was.
Yeah, well,
but
I didn't see that, but yeah.
And then you had George Clooney, the other Joel Schumacher movie. No, I grew up like this is one of the first movies I remember seeing in theaters. Not the first, but it is one of the first. I very much grew up with Batman and Robin. The second movie that Chris O'Donnell was Robin in, he was Robin in Batman Forever.
And I don't like Robin.
No,
as a character.
No.
As anything. And I definitely don't like Chris McDonald as an actor.
Chris O'Donnell.
Whatever. McDonald, Ronald, whatever his name was.
He was really good in Three Musketeers as D'Artagnan. Like that.
I still don't think that.
That's about all I can say.
You know, it's funny. I don't think there's been a good D'Artagnan actor to this date.
Hush your mouth. Gabriel Byrne in The Man in the Iron Mask. Thank you very much.
Granted, good movie.
Good movie.
I don't remember the actor of that one that much.
He was good.
But I like Logan Lerman.
Never saw that movie.
But poor casting choice for the...
Yeah.
But that was a bad movie all around. Yeah. The New Three Musketeers. That's not terrible. So everything about that was terrible. But yeah. But they can't... Okay, I'll give you that. Man in the Iron Mask. I had Leo DiCaprio. Obviously, the cast of
that was a really solid movie in general.
Yeah. I need to rewatch that.
Yeah.
Maybe my views of D'Artagnan for that role would be different. But for those two movies, oh my God.
But no, Chris O'Donnell's bad. George Clooney, he was all right as Batman. He was a decent Bruce Wayne. He was fine. All right as Batman. I wouldn't even say fine. He was all right.
Clooney is a great actor.
Mm-hmm. Not everyone's meant to play Batman, though.
He's definitely not a Batman.
Not everyone's meant to be play a superhero.
He was hired more to be Bruce Wayne.
He was hired to try to gain box office and revamp the series and get it rebooted and everything.
Because he was hot at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And it didn't work. I loved this movie as a kid, and it's still, like, watching it is still very enjoyable for me.
Yeah, it's more funny, though. But, like, we don't look at it as, like, ooh, look at Batman. No, it's not, like, comical now. It's like, this is fun. Yeah. Like, it's just funny to watch.
And, like, the writing isn't good.
Oh, not at all.
The acting from anyone, Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze.
With his 101 plus Frozen puns.
Yeah.
How about you just cool and chill?
Jesus. It was and bad.
God
the
damn.
Writing is bad. The sets were not very good.
I thought Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy was a good
That was
choice.
Probably the best thing about that movie, to be honest.
She did a good job, and it was very seductive.
Mm-hmm.
Even as a kid, you're like, damn, I'll kiss those poison lips. But yeah.
But it is a fun movie. Like, out of the four 90s, 80s, and 90s Tim Burton, or 80s and 90s Batman movies, I would say that is the funnest to watch.
Yeah.
And that could be some childhood bias there. I don't know. But I do think that was...
Well, we did grow up with them.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of...
But Kevin Conroy, animated Batman.
Animated voice actor for Batman. So people don't get confused.
Yeah, like, who the fuck's Kevin Conroy?
Yeah.
Which, honestly, is a fair question.
That is fair. He made... Was he not... Did a cameo for Big Bang Theory?
Big Bang Theory?
Wasn't he in... Oh, no. He did a Yoga Hosers. Kevin Smith's Yoga Hosers.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that.
Kevin Conroy, he was in one of the Canadian gas stations picking up something.
How interesting.
Because Kevin Smith loves the comic.
He loves the comic. Because like, he named his daughter Harley Quinn.
He named his daughter Harley Quinn. Yeah, Kevin Conroy did a cameo on that.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I've seen that. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
Yeah, you only saw it the once, so it's like, I understand.
But, so I actually bought the Batman animated series set.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool set.
Came with the whole animated series. It was technically two separate series, but the whole series, and then the two movies directly related to that. Mask of the Phantasm and Batman Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero.
Which, oh man.
We watched both of those.
Recently.
Like, we watched all the movies, all the Batman movies recently. Yeah. We included those.
Right. So we're taking these into a refreshed...
Very fresh.
Very fresh.
In our minds.
We just watched these films. They're all available on HBO Max, so...
Yeah.
We just watched these.
So, Mask of the Phantasm... in my opinion, one of the best Batman movies, period. I think the writing...
Creepy movie.
Kind of creepy. The writing, I think, was very, very good, especially for an animated movie. But I think the writing was very good. The storyline was very good.
Gave me fucking nightmares as a kid. Like, in the parking garage?
Oh,
where the smoke in the face?
The Phantasm.
Oh, my word. I had nightmares growing up. I really did.
But I had a Phantasm. I had so many Batman action figures as a kid. I had a Phantasm action figure.
I may have had one.
A little Joker origin in there. It's its own origin. It doesn't tie in with any of the other universes. But it's interesting. It's a good movie. It's an entertaining movie. It's only like 70 minutes.
It's amazing how short these movies were. As a kid, you didn't really think about it. It's just a show now. Yeah. It's an episode.
Yeah.
But even like... The Night Before Christmas is like...
It's only like 75, 80 minutes.
An hour and 17 minutes.
Yeah. It's nothing. It really is.
Right, nothing.
And then Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero, not nearly as good as Mask of the Phantasm.
But still a fun movie.
Still a fun movie.
Yeah. I like representing villains that aren't overly portrayed as much. Mm-hmm. And obviously Joker is the number one villain to be used the most.
Yeah.
But Mr. Freeze we only used a couple of times. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying this now, but consider this, my viewers here, or my audience. Mark Strong. Picture Mark Strong as a modern, technicalized Mr. Freeze. Man.
Yeah.
I think
that'd be good.
That would be dope.
Yeah.
Not with the dumb suit like Arnold Schwarzenegger. More slick.
A suit.
But
not that suit.
Not that suit. Yeah. More sleek and more modern.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, there's Siri wanting to tell us a joke.
Why is Siri on? My apologies.
But, no, Batman Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero is still good. Not nearly as good as Master Phantasm, but it's still a good, fun movie. And then here's where it starts to get really interesting. Christian Bale. One of the universally accepted as one of the best Batman actors ever. Yeah. That's most people would agree to that. You were in the minority there. We'll get into that later. Batman Begins. Liam Neeson is the villain. Very good.
Oh yeah, love Liam Neeson. Ooh, and who played Scarecrow?
The Peaky Blinders guy.
Yes.
Cillian Murphy.
Oh man,
he was excellent.
I love him in everything he does.
Yeah,
great actor. And bringing such representation for Scarecrow, who's like not been in any real movie at all. So,
but Batman Begins, solid movie. The Dark Knight.
Oh, I'll say this before I bash Christian Bale, but perhaps the most solid Batman movie ever. Like,
and it's a large part because of Heath Ledger.
Yes, but also
like, it's a really good movie. It's a well done movie, but like a lot of that is because of Heath Ledger.
It was a great balance for the directing with, and I'll give it Christian Bale's Batman, but Heath Ledger's Joker. Yeah. That whole chemistry and oh man.
Now I will say Maggie Gyllenhaal's character, her and Katie Holmes both were not very good as the character. The character itself, I think, was just poorly done.
Granted.
I honestly think, and a lot of people don't agree, I honestly think Katie Holmes was better than Maggie Gyllenhaal was.
I agree.
But I think, honestly, if you couldn't have had the character, like, I don't know. It's very tricky the way they did it. I get why they did it the way they did it. I didn't care for Maggie Gyllenhaal in that. And then Aaron Eckhart is Two-Face, and Harvey Dent, and then later Two-Face.
One of his best roles. Really good.
Yeah. And just a solid movie overall. Michael Caine in all three of the Christian Bale movies, outstanding.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Morgan Freeman in all three of them, outstanding.
Gary Oldman as...
Gary Oldman, fucking, yeah.
Crazy great. I don't think I have a better Commissioner Gordon. I like to see more J.K. Simmons in the DCU, but his Commissioner Gordon was absolute.
Yeah.
Because I loved him as Sirius Black in Harry Potter. Like, Gary Oldman just... Yeah. Banger.
And then Dark Knight Rises. Tom Hardy as Bane...
This is Ra's al Ghul's destiny. I wonder. I like to talk to Tom Hardy and be like, where do you come up with the idea of the voice?
Yeah.
Because you don't sound... You're a bigger, beefy guy. Yeah. But you sound like that. I love to know why.
It was really good and memorable, though.
It was. That's why what it's like, who's going to forget this voice? I will break every bone in your body. Gotham? I don't know. But yeah.
He was really good.
It was.
The movie itself...
kind of slow.
Not as good as Dark Knight. I would say it was a little bit better than Batman Begins. Batman Begins was a better paced movie, but I think Dark Knight Rises was a better movie overall.
Granted.
Anne Hathaway was a good addition as Catwoman, I thought.
Yeah.
So that's the Christian Bale.
A little bit longer.
Yeah, a little bit longer. It could have been cut up a little bit.
Slightly condensed.
Condensed, yeah. But it was good. It was solid.
It was still, enjoyable.
And then Ben Affleck. So Ben Affleck, he played in Batman vs. Superman.
Also known as Batfleck.
Batman vs. Superman and Justice League. And then a cameo at the end of Suicide Squad. And he had cameos throughout fucking...
He appeared in Suicide Squad for a couple of scenes. Squad.
There was something else, though. Wasn't there another movie that he was Batman in? I thought there was.
I mean, he's doing the reshoots for Snyder Cut.
Yeah, but I thought there was another DC movie.
No.
There's a note from him in Wonder Woman, but that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
He's not an Aquaman. Okay, so yeah. God, where do we begin? Batman vs. Superman. Good movie.
Yeah.
Introduction of Wonder Woman, really good.
Yeah.
Much better, in my opinion, than Man of Steel was. I don't like Man of Steel. I never have.
It grows on you, in my opinion, if you watch him a few more times.
Fucking Michael... The one thing about Man of Steel I can't get over is Michael Shannon as a goddamn... Yeah. It's just like fucking...
don't go there.
David...
Don't.
What's his name?
Yeah, don't think of it.
What's his name? In Wonder Woman. What's his name?
Oh.
David Thewlis.
I'm okay with that. I thought you were going a different direction.
No.
Yes, David Thewlis.
It's just like Michael Shannon and David Thewlis. The one thing about the DC movies, they pick horrible, horrible people for their villains. Both of those guys.
David Thewlis.
David Thewlis and Michael Shannon individually as actors are good actors.
Absolutely, but
very, very wrong choices for both of those roles. Mm-hmm. I've passionately despised that casting choice for both of them.
I feel, and this is my perspective, like what Man of Steel did was Zack Snyder was a God blessing for the Superman film because he did something. He brought the origin of Superman in a new direction, going back to Krypton. And the casting, granted, Michael Shannon was a poor choice, but the casting of Kevin Costner, and Russell Crowe as his actual father and his adoptive father and stuff like that
was really good.
Oh, the way he executed the father-son scenes and the emotion. Yeah. Oh man, I loved it. I thought it's still a cinematically beautiful movie. Amy Adams is great. Lawrence Fishburne, and it was all right, but it was still like, I don't know. I think the movie grows on you, but it's, to this day, in my opinion, the best solo Superman movie we've got.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's the other ones were made in the fucking 80s, and then that terrible Brandon Roth one, like that.
Which you didn't even watch.
I don't need to know it's terrible.
Hey.
I'm sorry.
It was, but...
but so what direction did you think I was going? The viewers have to know now. When I was trying to think of David Thewlis, where did you think I was going?
No.
You know, you have to let the... I don't even know where you were going.
I thought you were about to jab a certain actor in a certain Marvel movie.
No, you have to...
There's your hint.
You have to tell us now.
The
viewers or the listeners don't know. Spit it out.
Oh.
Spit it out. What is it?
I thought you were about to jab at Mickey Rourke in Iron Man 2.
Oh, fuck me. No,
and now here we go!
Now talk about the worst actor... or villain choice, actor for a villain role, in the history of cinema. Fucking Mickey Rourke as a physicist. Who in their fucking right mind would ever believe that Mickey Rourke could name one thing on the periodic table of elements, much less be a goddamn physicist? That is terrible. Terrible.
Still, the rest of Iron Man 2 makes up for that.
No, it doesn't. All three of the Iron Mans are shit.
No, they're not.
They're terrible.
No, they're not.
They are.
They're not.
I'm sorry.
They're great movies.
No, they're not. We've talked about Marvel enough in the past. Batman vs Superman. Back to that. I really do like this movie. The one I think. Who plays Lex Luthor in that? Jesse Eisenberg.
Yes.
Brilliant role for him. I think he did that beautifully. Absolutely.
Brought a new direction.
Yeah. The one thing I don't like about this movie, you know where I'm going with this, I think.
I hope not, but okay.
Is Batman is dead set against Superman. Until he's about to kill him with his kryptonite spear.
Okay, yep.
And Superman just has to pipe up and say, "Save Martha." And then Batman turns into a little 4-year-old. Wait a second. Your mommy's Martha too? You must be good then. And then decides to help him.
That's all it was.
And then decides to help him. What the absolute fuck? So stupid.
Why do you let that ruin things.
It doesn't let me ruin it. I love that movie.
It's a great movie, yeah.
It is a great movie.
And okay, for people who probably haven't seen the extended cut, it's available on HBO Max.
You gotta see the extended cut.
Because your perspective, I can agree, like, some discordant with the theatrical release. But watch the extended. It's like an extra 30 minutes, I believe.
It's like an extra 30, 45 minutes. Like,
yeah.
It's almost 3
And it
hours.
makes up a huge difference in the whole story of the film.
And, like...
And that's where we're going. Yeah,
I like the original theatrical version fine.
I do
like,
too.
The extended version is better.
Helps.
Like it's really good.
A great deal.
And like that
answers a lot of questions if anybody did.
The whole Mommy Martha jerk off session, it doesn't ruin the movie for me. It's annoying.
There was no jerk off session. He's just saying that to make it how weird it was.
It's annoying, but it doesn't ruin the movie for me, you know?
Okay.
Not like Mickey Rourke in Iron Man 2. But
I thought we talked about Marvel enough.
Or Michael Shannon in Man
That's
of Steel.
a better example.
So it doesn't ruin it for me, but it's still annoying.
Granted.
Ben Affleck's scenes in Suicide Squad, unlike many people, loved Suicide Squad. It wasn't a well-made movie.
Love's a strong word.
It wasn't a well-made movie, but it was a fun movie. Regardless of the regular theatrical...
Fun is fine.
It wasn't the theatrical version versus the extended version. I don't really have a preference between the two for this movie.
And the extended version had just a few more additional Jared Leto Joker
like
sequences.
2 scenes, maybe.
But, whatever.
But I don't really have a preference between the two.
I don't blame people, though, for dogging it.
It wasn't very well made. I'll agree.
David Ayer was a poor choice for directing.
The villain, fucking Enchantress or whatever,
was terrible.
Along with the Cara Delevingne who played her, was terrible.
Yeah, that whole package.
That's what I dislike most about that movie.
And we'll cut this in. What I thought Suicide Squad should have done, premise-wise, like what Birds of Prey actually did, was keep it to a human ground level and involve not the supernatural magical entities and shit, but just keep it to a more gangster, more gang type relative film where it's more quarrels and like gunshots and stuff, because they are more grounded to that level. They're not Superman and things like that. So I felt like that's how the movie should have been to the beginning, and that's what they did with Birds of Prey, and Birds of Prey is fantastic. But I wish Suicide Squad went that route. Granted, the casting, for the most part, were still decent. Margot Robbie, I don't hate Will Smith. Poor choice for Deadshot. But the rest of it was fine.
It was a decent cast.
Decent cast. Decent cast.
It was a fun movie, in my opinion. And
I still enjoy it.
It's more than fine. Like, when I say a movie's fine, I mean, it's fine. I wouldn't watch it on my own, but if someone I was hanging out with wanted to watch it, I would agree.
Well, if I'm doing a DCU binge.
But even then, like, I've watched Suicide Squad just by itself. Because
that's what I'm
multiple
saying.
times. Like, not with a DC binge or anything like that. Like, I've watched Suicide Squad alone. Out? Yes.
Ew.
Like, I actively like the movie. It is a fun movie, and I actively enjoy
watching it.
That's me
with Aquaman.
And Aquaman's fine.
I like Aquaman.
It's, again, Aquaman, it is fine, in my opinion. It's not one that I would watch without watching it with someone else or watching it as part of the DC movies.
Oh, okay.
Suicide Squad is more than fine for me. And Ben Affleck, he's in it throughout, little cutscenes here and there.
Right.
He's fine.
Yeah,
he's good. It's him arresting different people. That's part of what makes it fun, seeing how Batman caught them.
I like how the DCU's been imaging Gotham and stuff too. Like, I feel like they've got the right balance between like kind of like Tim Burton, what he would do with what Christopher Nolan's modern day, and like they brought like a line there. I would say
with Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins Gotham, because the Gotham that he has in Batman Begins,
started being Manhattan and
but
shit.
then the Dark Knight and then Dark Knight Rises were two.
City.
You went from very like Batman Begins was like very very Tim Burton-y looking, and then Dark Knight Rises were really just strictly Manhattan and Chicago.
Right.
There was no gothic aspect to it like there was Batman. That's one thing I didn't like about that.
I agree. I don't like that either.
But no, the DCEU Batman movies I think do a good job with Gotham as well. Justice League, I think we all know that movie wasn't that good.
Right.
It was one of those that it was fine.
Yeah.
I don't think it was as bad as people said it was.
Because I think there was a lot of hype.
Yeah.
And when that hype was discouraged, then they bashed on it harder than it should have been.
It wasn't the movie that it needed to be. And it wasn't the movie that it was supposed to be.
Well, and that's what I'm going to say is like, it was supposed to be purely a Zack Snyder's vision. He left due to family, personal matters, and
then they brought in...
Joss
made the
Whedon.
Terrible decision. The absolutely terrible decision to bring in Joss Whedon to oversee the directing of the last.
And the more I think about it, the more I think that he's more of a MCU favoritist, and I think he did intentionally fuck with Justice League to make DCU fans a bit more pissed. That's a big accusation. I don't know about that. I think that's true.
I don't think he deliberately did, but I think just the way he directs things in general was such a diversion, or not a diversion necessarily, but was such in stark contrast with Zack Snyder that he ended up taking a movie that was like 75% complete,
right,
and just totally fucked it up. So I'm very excited.
Should have been more respectful and honorable to what Snyder had.
Not to change so much, because he went in and changed scenes that had already been filmed.
And you know how you don't like Henry Cavill and that mustache gate? Joss Whedon's fault.
Yeah.
All Joss Whedon's fault.
He went in and changed scenes that had already been done. He reshot scenes that had already been done. He fired the composer for the movie.
Brought in Denny Elfman.
And brought in a new one.
Not that I was too mad about Denny Elfman coming back for some nostalgia, but still, like Junkie XL and stuff.
The same guy who did Mad Max.
Junkie XL.
Junkie XL, yeah. Fired Junkie XL for no reason at all. And Junkie XL, he did the Batman vs. Superman, I believe. He did Wonder Woman. There was no reason to fire him at all. And I'm sure he had already done most of the movie by then. So to have someone else come in and redo it was just ridiculous. Bringing Joss Whedon in was the worst decision they ever made.
Horrible decision.
So we're very excited, whether it does end up being one long movie or broken up into like a mini-series. We're very excited to see what Justice League brings for the Snyder Cut on HBO Max.
Absolutely. A lot of people, it's a shame that they don't think that it's going to make a big difference.
Yeah, I think it will.
It'll make a lot of difference.
Because like just some of the things you saw in the trailer that were Zack Snyder's stuff.
Single cut, a single image has made all the difference in the world. Just so you know how Steppenwolf was. Yeah. And the chemistry between like Wonder Woman and Batman. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I'm sold. But we're excited. Just saying. And I'm just saying for viewers who are discouraged by the Justice League movie,
give Snyder Cut a chance.
Give Snyder Cut a chance. See the movie that he intended to watch. And if you didn't know about the root and the problem with Justice League and the history of the filmmakers of the DCU, well, here it is. Yep. And Snyder launched this baby. And so it's at its resurrection point. So.
Yep. So we're going to take a break real quick, and then we're going to come back and rate the Batman actors from best to worst, and then we even have our first podcasting movie review.
Yeah. With the current conditions we are in, lots of people are thinking of creating podcasts, which is a very cool and hip way to keep busy and have fun. For any of our listeners thinking of starting a podcast, we like to recommend Anchor. When we started out, we chose Anchor because it's free, and we all like free, am I right? Plus, it is so easy to use, especially for Aaron since he spends tedious amounts of time editing each of our episodes. It has tools that eliminate the need for expensive software, which is great because why spend the extra money when it's all accessible with Anchor? And you can start making money from your very first podcast. Ka-chang, ka-chang, bring home the bacon. And get this, it distributes your episodes for you to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Alrighty. So one thing we did forget to mention, there's Watson making an appearance. 2 episodes in a row with kitty appearances. One thing we did forget to mention before the break was Robert Pattinson's upcoming Batman portrayal in The Batman.
Yes.
By what's his name?
Matt Reeves.
Matt Reeves directing. A lot of drama with this movie. Was originally supposed to be Ben Affleck, and then he was originally going to write, direct, and star in it.
Right. A lot of shit's happened with this movie. Decided
against it. Didn't know what was going to happen for a long time.
Yeah.
He is producing it. Matt Reeves rewrote it, and Robert Pattinson's going to be in the role.
Right.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson's Batman.
The rest of the cast sounds good. Zoe Kravitz is Catwoman. Paul Dano is the Riddler. Jeffrey Wright is Gordon. Andy Serkis is... What's his name? Alfred. Pennyworth, yeah.
And Colin Farrell as Penguin. Like that.
What cast, a crazy cast.
The cat and like people said the same thing about.
But it's a great cast.
No, it's a great cast. But like people's apprehension to Robert Pattinson, people said the same thing about Heath Ledger when they heard that he was going to be Joker.
Sure.
You never know.
No.
What it's going to be.
And Robert Pattinson's a great actor. He's done great films. And I'm not counting Twilight because we know that, but I'm saying he's done great roles, and I have hope that he does a good Bruce Wayne Batman.
Yeah,
I just have my skepticism at this moment, but I'm hoping to prove wrong. We shall see.
I really don't have any opinions on him.
Okay,
I honestly don't. I don't know whether he will be good or bad. I don't think he will be one or the other. I have truly no opinion.
Because I know people had their skepticism about Ben Affleck.
People had their...
And I had no
a lot
opinion.
of people hate Ben Affleck as Batman. Like, still. Like, he is... I would say the majority of Batman fans and DC fans out there do not like Ben Affleck as Batman.
And they're wrong.
And that's their opinion.
I know.
But, it is what it is.
I know.
And a lot of people were very skeptical about Heath Ledger playing Joker. And he was fucking fantastic.
Yeah, absolute.
So, Watson. So yeah, we're very much looking forward to this movie, if anything, just for the supporting cast that's going to be in it, more so than Robert Pattinson.
That's my bigger drive.
So, it should be fun.
Yeah.
So, at the very least, watching all those great actors.
And I was kind of bagging on Matt Reeves for a little bit because I thought he was trying to bastardize this film within the DCU.
That wasn't him. That was media rumors that were trying to do that, not Matt Reeves.
Okay.
It was. Like, it was all media speculation based off of what independent sources had heard.
But granted, luckily, this is... DC movie, not canon with the DCU universe.
More like the Joker was a standalone DC movie.
Right, with Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
So that's where this mostly stands. So don't think this is going to take over. He's the next Batman. Mm-hmm. But he's may or may not see Ben Affleck come back too.
Yeah.
So
Michael Keaton is supposed to come back as Batman in like a
and do you know,
alternate
we've talked
dimension
about that
in The Flash. I think.
That was confirmed.
Yeah.
So he...
And it is the Flash movie it's going to be in, right?
Yes, I believe so.
It's supposed to be like one of those mini worlds. He's not going to be Batman in the same universe that Ben Affleck was. It's going to be like they're traveling to another dimension where he is and things like that. So I think there's possibility.
That's kind of cool.
That's a possibility for it to be really fun to do that.
Yeah, really fun. Because it's like you're doing something new with... Mm-hmm. First of all, we haven't had a Flash movie, you know?
Yeah.
But we're doing something exciting with that. And then kind of going back and kind of doing some throwback with the old Batman, Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
So
it'll be interesting.
Yeah. That'll be interesting. But I do have some semi-promise for... And yeah, I'll say that the new Batman movie, you know, the neo-noir type old classic style, and that Batmobile looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does. So. It really does. So now we're going to give our Batman actor rankings individually because we have very different opinions.
Yeah.
I'll go first.
Okay.
You'll go second. We're not going to comment on any either's until we're both done.
Okay.
Okay. So my top, I really don't count him in the same one because it's animated, but if you maybe include him on the list with the other live action actors, Kevin Conroy would be my top one. And I know that's purely for nostalgic purposes, but that's just how I feel. Bale would be number 2. Ben Affleck number 3. Michael Keaton number 4. George Clooney number 5, and Val Kilmer number 6.
Nice. That's not a bad list.
So, I do have issues with Bale's Batman. I would argue
we all do.
I would argue that the best Batman versus best Bruce Wayne list would be very different.
That's a different list.
That is a different list. Honestly, I think that Ben Affleck would still be near the top of my list. He would probably be number 2. Michael Keaton would probably be number 1. But we won't go into a whole thing about that.
Okay.
So this is an overall list of who was best in both roles.
I'm gonna start with Ben Affleck.
Okay.
Second would be Kevin Conroy.
Mm-hmm.
Third would be Christian Bale. Fourth would be Michael Keaton. Fifth would be Val Kilmer. Sixth would be George Clooney.
Okay.
And that's a mutual...
You really think that Kilmer was better than
Clooney? Sure.
Oh, wow.
And that... the movie helps, the overall project has to do a lot with the acting, too. You can pull out the acting separately, and I do that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But their movies are so almost the same that
they're very similar.
Clooney's movie was just so awful. And Clooney was hired to be Bruce Wayne. And I think his Batman was worse than Kilmer's, yes.
I disagree.
Well, that's fine.
Kilmer, I think, was just worse all around. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
So all of those movies were pretty bad. Or those 2 movies specifically were pretty bad. The Tim Burton ones, again,
It's on the very bottom.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the Batman movies. We watched all of these very recently.
Yeah.
Moving on to something else, when everyone's not in quarantine and shut down and things like that, me and Christian have run for almost 15 years now a movie review. We've been seeing movies for almost 15 years.
Yeah.
Probably closer to 10 years. We've been doing an online movie review.
Right, yeah.
We started out back in 2010, 11 with a Facebook group. It was CNA Media. And then for the last 5, 6, 7 years...
we had CNA Media for 6 years, I believe.
Okay. And then for the last few years, we've done... We have a page, 1302 Entertainment.
Right.
We do movie reviews. We've done an occasional TV show review before. Only 2 or 3 over the last 10 years. Not very many at all.
We mostly stick to film.
Yeah.
And
but I would say there was... Back when you were working at AMC, which was 2015.
I think so.
We saw 100-something movies that year.
Probably.
But it's because you had free movies.
Yeah.
And so we were good to see anything.
Yeah.
And then back in 2018, I guess, we
Movie
had
Pass?
Movie Pass. And then we saw even more.
Jim?
We had somewhere 125 movies or something ridiculous
Probably.
like that. Most years, last year we did 75 movies.
Yeah.
Most years I would say we average between 50 and 75, averaging a movie and a half a week.
Right.
This year we're in August now. We just saw our 13th.
Yep.
We saw... the last movie we saw in theaters was... Emma. With... Who was in that movie?
Back in March. Bill Nye.
Who was the main girl in that?
She's a known actress. I just can't think of her name. She's been in Split.
It was a very odd movie.
And
Anna Taylor-Joy.
Anna Taylor-Joy, right.
Johnny Flynn, Mia Goth, Callum Turner, Bill Nye. That's about it.
Yeah.
That's the last movie we saw in theaters. We've seen what? How many movies VOD?
Since then?
That we've reviewed?
6 or 7.
These the movies that we've reviewed since then have been direct release to VOD.
Direct
that would have been
release
theatrical releases.
That would still be contenders for Academy Awards.
Yeah.
Right.
So, whenever things open back up again, when we are able to safely go back to movie theaters, we most likely will do a little review. We post our reviews on Facebook and Instagram.
Right.
But whenever theaters open back up, we most likely will do a little review at the end of our podcast about the movie that we saw that week.
Yeah.
Or movies, maybe. So, we just watched Waiting for the Barbarians today.
Yeah, just at least yesterday.
Not a lot of people have heard about this movie, I don't think. It hasn't been publicized very well.
No.
Starring Mark Rylance.
Mark Rylance.
Academy Award winner for Bridge of Spies.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
And Robert Pattinson.
Right.
Both as villains.
Yeah. Granted. Mm-hmm.
So it's set this unnamed European empire.
Yeah.
Is
interesting.
Mark Rylance is they call him a magistrate.
Right.
In this Turkish Middle Eastern desert city.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of colony type thing, very common. Set in like I would guess anywhere from the 1910s to early 1930s.
Mm-hmm.
There's Sherlock making his guest cameo. Movie's what? Hour 50 minutes?
Yeah.
Something like that. Just short of 2 hours. What were your thoughts?
Well, I've read a couple of reviews, fair reviews, and we're critics and we do reviews, so, but we don't take these to heart, obviously. We have our own opinions.
Because a lot of times we disagree.
A lot of times we do disagree. But I would say a couple of the ones I've read were fair. And it was a great performance, I think.
By everyone.
It was a well-done movie, directorially, cinematographically, the production designs. I thought Depp, Pattinson, and Rylance did such a phenomenal job.
This was Mark Rylance's one of his first leading roles.
Which is impressive.
Mm-hmm.
He did a really fantastic job. Slower. It had slow moments. I ain't gonna lie.
The first third of it, I would say, was the quickest paced, and then it went down. It got slower and slower from there.
Slower and slower, and then the end picked up and finished off.
Yeah.
But no, I thought Mark Rylance's performance was so. I thought it was pretty good. I would definitely want to rewatch this movie and get another second.
It's a beautifully shot movie.
Beautifully
shot. The
shot.
sets were beautiful. Cinematography is beautiful.
Depp was he played a more serious, straightforward character, and he's done that before. But it's refreshing when he does it again.
Yeah.
And Robert Pattinson proved himself.
Again.
And these are the kind of roles I see Robert Pattinson playing, separate from Batman and stuff. But I thought Robert Pattinson did a great job. He reminded me of his performance in Wonderful Elephants, things like that.
Yeah, it is interesting. I don't know if you know, this was the director of the movie. It was his directorial debut.
Saron Guerra or something like that. Yeah,
so
that's impressive.
I thought, for his first movie, I thought it was very well done.
That is impressive.
We both ended up sleeping through parts of it.
I nodded off a couple of times.
You nodded off a couple of times, and I slept through, out of the hour and 50 minutes that it was, I'd say I probably slept through 25, 30 minutes.
Maybe.
Throughout, sprinkled. It wasn't just a solid. I saw, I would wake up, see
He's got these
5 or 10
blankets that are weighted and comfy.
It was kind of dark.
You nod off pretty fast. Yeah. It's pretty easy.
And you nod off pretty easy, too. You just don't do it for as long as I do.
Yeah.
But it was slow. And, slow enough to where, we did fall asleep a little bit.
Yeah.
But
fair enough. So unless you're well energized, I don't recommend you watch this movie because you definitely need to be awake for this.
Yeah.
And appreciate slower films. But no, it's fun.
But end of the day, we do 5-star ratings. For those who may not know, we gave this 3.25 stars.
Yes.
So not bad. It was really saved by the performances of the 3 main guys.
Yes, true.
It really was.
You needed those no names to help pull this movie. If it was no names, I would have dropped this.
Yeah, no one would have seen it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was good. It was solid.
Yeah.
A little slow, but that's a lot of movies are. There's nothing you can do about that.
And a lot of the better performance picture films are slower, so it's still in 6.
Let's see. So this is our season finale.
This is our season finale, guys. 10 episodes.
10 episodes.
Episode 10.
Next, we've been a little sporadic in posting. We're going to really try to do better about that next season.
We are working men, so partially it's due to that. Also, we just have busy lives. And also, COVID-19.
COVID-19.
Has
Had a
been
good 2-3 weeks that we couldn't sit down and record.
Due to scares, so.
But next season, we're going to, I think the first season of every podcast or TV show is kind of the learning season.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
We've learned some things. We're
working on.
I think we have a better idea of what we need to do to better plan and get episodes launched.
An idea, yeah.
But we don't know quite when we're going to be launching season 2. This is August right now.
I'd say it's safe to maybe assume early next year.
Early next year, maybe before the end of the year.
Maybe, yeah.
But
we're definitely taking a couple months off.
Yeah, and we might. I don't know. We've been toying with several ideas. We definitely still, I think, I know I do want to do some of the movie reviews.
Yeah, definitely.
Just keep it fresh.
Hopefully, once movie theaters are back up in action and we go back into cinemas, you'll hear more about our up-to-date cinematic opinions and reviews and ratings. But due to everything being pushed to 2021, it's just kind of like...
And who knows, maybe, I'm sure movies will still be... Some movies, more like, Waiting for the Barbarians and things like that, will still be...
Straight to VOD.
Straight to VOD, we'll still talk about those. Yeah. So... But yeah, we hope everyone enjoyed this season. We needed to get better about saying it on here. But our Instagram, Millennials with Mike's Podcast.
Yeah.
At Millennials with Mike's Podcast. We post whenever we have new episodes. We'll post on there whenever we're getting ready for season 2.
Yeah.
And if questions, comments, suggestions, we'd love to hear them. Send us a message.
Absolutely.
And we thank everybody for listening to our first season.
Thank you.
Look forward to next season.